I fucking the giant babies. I had never saw that shit. That was crazy. That blew my mind. But I love how there's like alternate endings and how
Yeah.
the true or like the ending E like leads into the Nier timeline.
Hmm.
That shit is super interesting. It's like
I love the
combining.
series. Like the. I think what I like about it the most is that like Jake doesn't like it because
You mean the extreme horrendous like?
it's like there's this constant theme of depression. It's you know what? It's
Yep.
not even that bad in here compared to Drakengard. Drakengard was way worse.
I don't need to know that.
Drakengard is extremely dark. That's the one with one of the main characters, the child molester.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I never even met the chick. She
Oh,
like
the one that eats babies.
yeah. What the
What the fuck?
Then ironically,
She had a miscarriage, so she
So
went
she got a
insane.
hunger for babies.
Yeah, so like she thinks that she needs to eat babies or little children in order to put them inside of her so that she can have a baby.
Okay.
She's one of the main characters.
but then she gets eaten by the
Yeah, she was
giant
eaten by a baby, a giant baby.
demon baby, yeah, or whatever those are.
Mm-hmm.
The Watchers.
Well, she goes in, so she's insane, and so she walks up to this giant demon baby, thinking that it's an actual baby, thinking that it's the baby to end all babies, to eat it, and then it eats her instead.
I'm glad I
So-
never got into that game.
Why?
No, I don't deal with that good. Way
So what
too
is-
fucking dark.
What do you think the guy's like fascination with twins is? Do you notice that? There's
Yes.
so many twins in those games.
So, I don't know what the video, or how in depth the video went, but I'm assuming it talked about Drakengard 1, 2, 3, Nier, and Nier Automata.
Yeah.
Did it also talk about the manga and then the plays too?
Plays? There were plays?
Yes,
Yep.
there were
Plays.
Nier plays.
Jesus. Also, Ibushi. Stop it.
So the manga, so Drakengard 3 is the start of everything, and then after Drakengard 3, there's actually a manga that's in between that one and the events of 1, and the manga actually leads up to it leads up to the first game, or Drakengard 1. So the twin intoners from Drakengard 3,
Yeah.
Zero killed one of them. You know, the brother survives, and so the manga's about him, and then like their version of the logic virus is being spread to random places because of his existence. Because he exists, that is why the logic virus exists. Okay, so let's backtrack. a
Oh
little bit
shit.
further. So let's backtrack a little bit further. So the whole thing that's happening in Drakengard in Nier is being caused by some god. There is a god that wants to destroy all of humanity, and it's this like dark entity, and apparently it was sealed behind a door some ages ago, and a piece of it called the Black Flower got out. So like the white flower motif that you see all over the series actually was birthed from this original Black Flower. And so the intoners are children as well of this Black Flower, or of this dark god or whatever. And so his purpose is to wipe out all of mankind, and so that's what the logic virus is about. Like it's supposed to drive sentient beings insane, I guess is the point.
Yeah.
And then so in the manga, what's his name? I think does he go by Zero? I don't remember what his name is. But the brother in Toner, at the end of the manga, he's traveling with this guy who is a complete fucking psychotic nutbag, and like he loves murdering people, and he sees people who are infected with the virus as a chance to freely murder for fun. And
Shit.
by the end of the manga, to kind of just skip ahead, the brother realizes that it's because of him that all of these people are going insane and murdering each other and the world's being destroyed. And so he wants to die. And they can only be killed by they can only be killed by other intoners or by dragons, because dragons are somehow linked to the dark flower as well. So what does this guy do? His traveling partner cuts his head off using a regular sword, and because he used a regular sword, his head is caught in this endless stasis of like being alive and dead at the same time. And so he cuts his head off so that he can't kill himself, so the virus can continue spreading. And
Fuck.
these are the events of the first game. So also during these events, this brother in Toner and this guy, they end up getting Kayam's parents murdered when he's younger, which is where the events of Drakengard 1 start. So the manga ends with him looking out over a hill or over a canyon where there's like a war taking place down there, and like he's holding the head of the intoner dude, and he's still alive, but he's all bloodied up and beaten up and stuff, and there's like maggots coming out of his head and stuff like that, but he's like still alive or some shit. So
Fucking love how you remember these minute details.
I do. Because he was like, it showed like the manga pans to his head being on a wooden stump, and it's like it looks decayed and gross, but he's also still alive. Like it shows that he's still alive, and the guy's like talking to him, like he's like, "How do you feel about blah 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 blah?" He's like talking to him like a regular thing, and like he reveals that he kept him alive because he wanted the chaos to ensue, because he enjoys being a serial killer, and so then he's looking down at the war that's happening in the first game, and then the first game starts, and Kaim is in the war. You know, he almost died. He binds with the dragon, and that's where everything begins. And so the biggest theory that makes sense is that they're caught in a time loop. Yeah, so like we haven't, so at the beginning of Drakengard 3, some mysterious city just like popped up, and it was like modern buildings that popped up in this other world. I believe that there are two Earths that are side by side. One has magic and one doesn't. And so the city from our Earth popped up in theirs, and with it, magic and stuff came, but it's magic from their own world. It's like a loop. So in the story, we haven't looped back around to where the city gets taken to their world, and it sort of starts all over again. But it's like they're basically caught in this never-ending circle of like darkness and death and just horrible things.
Seriously.
I said sweet. What the fuck? Good job, Jordan.
So, one point, I hate how I think it's Drakengard 2, how they treat Kaim. I'm just like,
oh gosh, Drakengard 2 is like
I know, yeah,
embarrassment.
Yeah,
it's pretty bad.
That's the impression I got. But they bring back like some of the characters from the first one, but I don't know. But
oh fuck. The series, like, so like storytelling wise, outside of Drakengard 2, and then I would say Drakengard 3 is probably like, they all have good stories. Drakengard 3, the story premise is really good. Like the elements of the story is good. It's not told in a super good way that's like cohesive and works really well. I think that's the major problem.
Yeah,
But
I can see that.
and then but they all have really good storytelling, or like the premises of the story is really good. I also enjoy the Jake doesn't like it, but I enjoy the dark nature of the games only because, like, despite how fucking hideously dark the series is, one of the main things that Yoko Taro continuously wants to highlight through all of the games is, like, there's always this small circle of hope, of light, like in all of the stories, no matter how dark they are. There's always hope, and there's like always a push to an effort to grasp this light, like no matter what, and I really enjoy that.
Seriously,
Jake doesn't like it.
No, it's not because of that, because of, you know, how dark it is. I like dark stories. However, it's so much misunderstanding.
Oh
It's
yeah.
so
yeah.
much misunderstanding.
A lot of the problems that are caused are missing, but to the defense of that, that's how real life actually is. Like, that's what I like about it so much. It's just like a lot of these characters have really intense flaws, like, that are realistic. Like, you would really have, like, in most video games, if you have a crew of like 4 teammates, like, they all happen to be like the most amazing, polished, heroic people ever. That's not realistic. You'd have a team of 4 people that each have their own baggage and dark history.
No, I don't mind baggage and dark history. I guess where it comes down for me, it's like, you know, we live in a, you know, we have to deal with the reality and everything. Why the fuck do I have to deal with that in the game? Like, the whole reason I'm playing is to escape this fucking nightmare hellscape, though.
And I think that's what was frustrating about when I first played through Nier the first one, is like, there's so much misunderstanding, and there's so much tragedy born of it too. Like, that's real life.
I started watching
Yeah.
Hobby play it when he was doing what's the arc with the wolves and the desert people? That's the one.
That's towards the
That's
end,
the one
yeah.
I started, and I bawled at the end of that arc. I was like, "What is this?
Yeah.
It's just a huge misunderstanding if they just talk."
So do you remember the entirety of that story? So it's
I know it was fucked up. I blocked out a lot of it.
No, so the wolf leader was the spirit of this
You're gonna
old
have me relive
grandpa
this.
guy's dog. Like, his dog, like, he wanted his dog to live more than himself, and so he let his dog get the Gestalt procedure. And so obviously the Gestalts went bad, and then the dog turned into one of those shades, and he just wanted to reunite with his master again. It was pretty messed up.
And then his wife ended up dying, and then he vowed vengeance against that.
Mhm.
What would you like to do?
They were fighting because they thought that they couldn't communicate, so they thought that each other was like killing each of their own, so they kept attacking each other.
Yeah, feels great.
Just that twist though, like, you're fighting these enemies the whole game, and then at the end you find out that they're actually the humans that are
You've been murdering them
Unable-
the whole time.
like, yeah, but how would you even know that? Like, it's and then in Automata, the twist at the end is like, there haven't been humans for like however many, like, thousands of years, and all these robots or whatever you call them, they just believe that there's still humans on the moon or whatever. Like,
Here's the quest list.
I love some of the ideas that guy Yoko Taro
He's got
came
a
up
crazy
with. Like,
mind.
I love it.
He has a really, I think my favorite, so like Nier Replicant is actually Nier Gestalt, the one for where he's the father. I think it's a better one perspective wise, but that's my favorite one, because the whole entire premise of that is that the love of his daughter led him to invent and come up with a system to try to save the world and to save his daughter. And it is that very same love for his daughter that's like instilled in his clone that undoes all of the work that he did in order to save her, in order to save the daughter. So it's like his plan unmakes itself because he loves his daughter so much. And I think it's really poetic.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And it leads to the destruction of mankind. Like,
Cool.
I mean, it's true. Like, the love of her led him to create the system, and then the clone had the same intense love, and the clone undid the system for the same reason, for the love of the same daughter. And I thought that was really intense. I thought that was really beautiful.
I also really like how whatever the demonic energy or whatever it is, it's like derived from the dragon from Drakengard or whatever.
Oh yeah, the maso particles are from what's her name?
I forget.
Angel and
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Angel something, I don't know. I mean, that's pretty fucked up too. You're using her fucking body. Like, all of that magic derives from her body. It's kind of crazy.
Just the fact that like those two universes kind of like had that connection or whatever, and then do you think? So, like you were saying, it's like a cycle. So you think at some point in like the future of Automata that it's going to revert back to like Drakengard at some point?
I do. So yes, I do. The time period between all of the games is so fucking vast. Like, he does a really good job of like each game heavily impacts the next one, but it sets the foundation for the next one, but then at the same time when you're playing them, they don't feel like, you feel like you're in a completely different world, like or like a completely different time period, which you are. So like the time period between Drakengard 3 and 1 is huge, and the time period between year 1 and Automata is like 6,000 fucking years. So like, you know, the next game is probably going to be even further in the future. Like the time, the loop itself, the time period is fucking vast. It's fucking huge. We're already what, almost 10,000 years from the first events in Drakengard 3. So like when the loop completes, it's probably gonna be like super fucking far in the future.
So, I mean, I kind of forget what all the endings for Automata are, but isn't one of them you get shot into space on like a spaceship kind of a thing?
Yeah, one of the you can choose to. They give 9S the option to stay and die on Earth, or to have his consciousness uploaded into the data that's shot into space. Currently,
Not sexual.
I was gonna say currently, it's true. So currently, we don't know which ending is the true canonical ending. So we won't know until the next game. Like, I mean, most people think it's the one where 2B and 9S get rebuilt. I mean, it definitely seems like that's the canonical one, but like, it could be any of them, honestly. And Yoko Taro's a fucking asshole, so he could totally, he would totally be the one to be like, let's make it this one with 9S, yeah, where they all die. Like, let's make it that one. He could totally do that. He would do some dumbass shit like that.
Dude, their story, what is it, 2B or whatever her name is, the girl? And then, yeah, 9S, they're like in love, but like constantly reborn, and her job is to kill him when he inevitably goes crazy.
Yep.
Dude, that,
What kind of 7 deadly ass sins?
Bro. Oh yeah, it kind of was. It kind of is. I think
But
that
that came first, yeah. Automata came first.
So I thought what was kind of interesting about the premise of that was that the whole system of like the backdoor system that was created in the bunker's mainframe and so like to allow the robots to get in and fuck shit up, was originally created by 9S, or his model type. So like that whole Yorha thing was created by 9S's model type, and so at the beginning of Automata, 2B says, I wonder if we'll ever get to meet the god that left us with this cryptic question so that I can kill him. And so she's been killing 9S over and over and over. He is technically, quote unquote, the god that started all of this cycle that she's caught in. And so she's been killing him over and over and over without realizing it. I thought that was really fucked up.
Yeah.
Of course, he doesn't remember it either.
That's like irony to the max right there.
I gotta say,
You
like,
both get off on it, you sick fucks.
I definitely come to it every time.
Me?
She's like choking him out, and I'm like,
Oh. Oh my god!
No, but like, I can't wait. I'm excited. So there's actually, so there was a manga, like post Drakengard 3. There's also another manga that takes place right before the events of Nier, where like you find out that he was actually raped, and like he murders his rapist, and also they're intense shit. And then there's also a manga after Nier, before Automata, where it talks about the events of Emil and how all of his friends from Nier 1 die, and like he basically becomes the last human on Earth, and then aliens invade the planet.
Yeah.
Like he splits himself up like into millions of versions of himself in order to combat these aliens and keep them from taking over. But it ends up turning him insane because he has to break his consciousness every time he splits, and it ends up driving him insane, and he doesn't remember himself anymore. And then,
gosh, this sounds more and more like a Souls game.
like, I cry. So Automata got me to cry twice. It was the first time I cried was when 2B died. That was extremely traumatic. Was not expecting that, and it was incredibly sad. And like when she died, I was actually in disbelief for a while. I'm like, is she dead? Like dead? Like dead? Like I can't play with her no more. I can't play with her no more. Oh, bitch! I was really upset. I cried during that. And because the music was really sad too.
Let me guess. The other time is when you get Emil's memories back before he dies.
Yes, that was the second time. When I first, so like the first time I descended down into his lair. So when you descend down into his lair, the music that's playing is extremely sad. It's so fucking sad. And then like when you get him to come into the area with the lunar tears, I cried then too, because he recognized the flower, and it was like slightly bringing back memories. And then the music that was playing was from the first game, which is Kane's song, which is also my favorite Nier song. And so I started crying then too. And then when I had to kill him, I cried then again. I got teary-eyed, and it was just very emotional. It was very emotional. I mean, you gotta imagine. So I played the original one, or I played Nier, and then the company went bankrupt, and so I thought that I'd never see another Nier game ever again. I was like, oh, this is the end. Like, we're never gonna get another one. And so when Nier Automata came out of fucking nowhere, I was like super hyped for it, and like everyone else wasn't really hyped because people didn't know what to expect, but I did, and I was super hyped. And so when they showed Emil and everything was like changed, everybody had died, and he was like sad and confused, and it was too much. It was too much emotion.
Understandable. Would you say Automata is your favorite game then?
Oh no, the Nier Gestalt is definitely my favorite.
Okay.
I think the story is so while Nier Automata definitely has Nier beat in gameplay, though I will say Nier Replicant definitely is no slouch. The remake, but I think that what am I trying to say? I think that the first Nier game is stronger story-wise. Like the whole premise of like this being the end of humanity and like basically like it's love that drives humanity to extinction, which is like incredibly like just the entire premise of the first game, the stories that are in it, the music, I definitely think the first game is better, or my favorite rather.
You know how most games, when they come out with a sequel, it's always like, oh, it like never, like Drakengard 2 or whatever, like it never like lives up. Would you say Automata is like a good, like it's not a worse sequel? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. I would say that Nier Automata is a worthy successor to Nier, is how I put it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I would definitely say that, yeah.
Like
I would absolutely say that.
they didn't like fuck everything up. Like,
Oh, no, not at all. It definitely lived up to its own, or like it lived up to the legacy. It also, I think that, the gameplay obviously was a fucking massive improvement, but like just the music is amazing. I still think I like the music from the first game a little better, but the soundtrack was amazing. The story was equally sad, and like, you know, of course, having played the first Nier, because a lot of people hadn't played the first Nier when they first played that game, so like certain things didn't hit for them the same way. So like the part with the part where you see Devila and Popola, and like for people who hadn't played the first game, that was kind of like they didn't really understand the impacts of those moments, and so like,
Yeah.
but I certainly did, and so like I definitely think that Automata was an amazing sequel, and I can't wait for the next one.
Would you like?
I'm assuming that the next one will not be I want to say that it won't be called Nier, because Yoko Taro likes to shake things up a bit, but at the same time,
What
Nier
if
did so
he-
amazing, or Nier Automata did so amazing that they might want to keep the name in order to like keep people's attention, you know?
what if they named it Drakengard
I
4?
wish you luck.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Right.
Oh, that would be pretty funny.